We're fairly certain that everyone knows what Twitch is. It's a place where people can live stream pretty much anything that they want, including playing games, creating some cool toys or costumes, or just hanging out with people and chatting about certain topics. Most of the time, things are pretty standard, and some live streams end up being entertaining and educational. However, there are some times when the Twitch stream goes sideways, and the camera and audio pick up some pretty frightening things. So, without further ado, check out these 5 scary things caught by Twitch IRL streamers. Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get notified every day for more amazing content. With that being said, let's begin. Number 5. Sarah Kate's bleeding eye. Who was it that said that cats are evil creatures? That was the comedian Ralphie May, and he might have been right. Especially considering what happened in this next video, when a Twitch streamer named Sarah Kate decided to take a break from playing the game Black Ops 2 when she was suddenly and violently attacked by one of the vile creatures. It's not known what caused her pet to attack her. Perhaps he got tired of waiting for his food while she was playing her game. In the video, she turns around and looks at the cat who's sitting on the chair behind her. For some reason, the cat didn't like this, and ended up striking out, leaving a terrible gash on her face. The whole time this is going on, she's Twitch streaming in real life. In the cringeworthy clip, Sarah, who goes by the Twitch username SarahKT, is chatting up to the other gamers as she looks back at the cat. She then turns around with the big gash on her face and blood streaming down from her left eye. Kate had let out a scary scream as the cat scratched her directly in the eye. When Kate turns around and looks back into her webcam, blood is streaming down her cheek. At the same time, thousands of her fans were watching, and many of them had different things to say about the incident. One of her viewers commented that if a cat did that to him, that cat wouldn't live to see the light of another day. A lot of other streamers were watching at the same time and had some things to say that we can't repeat here. And the accident was actually worse than many people thought. The cat actually did scratch the inside of her eyeball, and after going to doctors, they were still deciding if they wanted to do stitches in the eye or not. That sounds even more painful than getting scratched in the eye by a cat. However, it turns out that Kate was actually lucky and wearing her contact lenses at the time. The contact lenses stopped the cat from scratching her cornea. There is some good news to this story, and a short time after the cat attack, Kate went to Twitter to tell her fans that she was recovering from a violent feline attack. We're curious what she did about the cat. What would you have done if it was your cat? Let us know in the comments below. Number 4. Kutra gets swatted. For this Counter-Strike gamer, the whole game with guns and stuff became a reality when a SWAT team actually entered his office building and arrested him. Of course, this is while he was playing Counter-Strike and was live streaming to a whole bunch of his fans at the same time. The name of the streamer, Jordan Matthewson, who goes by the handle Kutra on YouTube, was just getting in a few rounds of Counter-Strike when he was swatted. You're probably unfamiliar with the term swatted. Apparently, this is some kind of prank where someone decides to call the police and falsely report some dangerous situation, such as the person in the building has a gun or there are hostages involved. It's claimed that the person who called the SWAT team said that Kutra, who was streaming live, had shot his co-workers and was holding the other people in the building hostage. Kutra is well known in the online gaming community and is part of a group called The Creatures. His group makes video tutorials, videos about video games, and other funny videos, but it seems that someone else had a different idea of what they wanted to see that day. It's not known who made the phone call because whoever it was decided to use a landline so that they couldn't be traced. The result was a 6-minute video that was posted on YouTube showing SWAT teams ordering Kutra to the ground at gunpoint and then searching the office. Kutra said that he realized almost immediately that it was a prank. As the video starts, you can see Kutra looking over his shoulder at the office door. He then says, "Oh, this isn't good. They're clearing rooms. What in the world? I think we're getting swatted." And that is exactly what was happening. Kutra says that people have pranked them in the past by doing things such as ordering a bunch of pizzas in their name or having a taxi sent to their homes. Of course, in the video, Kutra is shown smiling as an officer asks him, "What about this is funny to you?" Even though the whole thing was just a prank, it was still terrifying for Kutra to be part of the whole ordeal. Number 3. House fire. Sometimes Twitch streamers do things like making costumes or reviewing products, and that is exactly what a Japanese man called Yoshihiro Mazda was doing when he was live streaming a product review. In the video, you can see Yoshihiro playing with a lighter while he was smoking a cigarette, which doesn't seem to be a safe thing in the first place. While playing around with the lighter, he then pulls out a can of lighter fluid to fill up the lighter in question, while still smoking the cigarette. The lighter's what's called an oil match, and he seems to be having a hard time getting it to work. At about 5 minutes into the video, he gets a spark that catches the lighter on fire, and for some reason, he decides to take the oil match that's still on fire and throw it inside of the bag of tissues that he was using to clean lighter fluid off of the lighter. To no one's surprise, the bag catches on fire. Meanwhile, his attention is turned in the opposite direction as he's probably messing around with the lighter itself trying to figure out how to put the flame out. At the same time, his followers on Twitch are telling him to look behind him. He then sees the bag behind him on fire and picks it up, moving it to the closets behind him. Chances are, if he would have left it alone there, it might have actually burned out. Instead, he tries to put out the fire with a cardboard box, which only adds more fuel to the fire. He then disappears off camera. The interesting thing is that the whole time there's a weird girl-like voice heard talking to him. Perhaps this was another streamer who was live with him at the time. After about the 6-minute 15-second mark in the video, there's a huge fire behind the chair. Yoshihiro returns with a bowl of water. He then takes a blanket and throws it on top of the flames, and it looks like he might actually put out the fire by smothering it, but instead fans the flames with the blanket, effectively catching it on fire. He then returns with a smaller bowl of water than he had before to try and put the flames out. The entire time this is happening, he's still live streaming. A lot of people have said that this is the dumbest thing that they've ever seen on a live stream, and we have to agree. At about 10 minutes into the video, you can see that the fire is now uncontrollable. Yoshihiro ended up having to leave the apartment, and the place burned down. The sad thing about this is that one of his neighbors was actually killed in the incident in which firefighters found the body of a charred woman in the apartment next to him. Number 2. Domestic abuse. A Twitch streamer by the name of Joe Ortega, who goes by the name JoeDaddy505, was live streaming himself playing NBA 2K16 on PlayStation 4. He had finished his live stream broadcast but forgot to turn the audio off. What really happened after this was anyone's guess, but it turned out to be a case of domestic abuse. During the broadcast, he can be heard shouting some terrible obscenities too harsh for us to repeat on this channel to some female who apparently was in the room with him. This woman is heard crying and screaming and telling the accused to get off of her. The whole time this is going on, hard-ass Joe doesn't know that his live stream audio's on, and every one of his fans is shockingly listening to the terrible abuse. At one point during the abusive attack, he can be heard laughing and making incredibly nasty comments towards the woman. Ortega was heard slurring his words as if he's drunk. As this terrible situation goes on, the woman is heard to be screaming louder, and it seems that she's in despair. And even at one point, her screams become muffled, which many speculated that her mouth may have been covered. So how many people have heard this sickening audio? Well, before Twitch decided to delete the clip, which we assumed was almost immediately after they heard it, more than 600,000 people had listened in. Many of those furious followers, or ex-followers, accused Joe Ortega of raping the woman on a live stream. Police in his vicinity of New Mexico were called and shown the video. However, the shocking thing is, the police said they were not going to press charges. The reason why? Because they claimed there wasn't enough evidence, and that a recording isn't enough evidence to press charges. Those same police said that they needed the victim to come forward, but she didn't. However, Joe got a lot of well-deserved hate and ended up trying to explain himself on Instagram, saying that his father died, he got drunk, and then he got into an argument with the woman in which he hit her, then he fell on top of her, and then he hit her again. Sounds like a confession of abuse to us. Apparently, his Twitch channel was permanently banned. Not like it would be any good after this happened. Joe has since disappeared off the face of social networking. Number 1. Paranormal activity. It might not be surprising that during a Twitch stream some weird things are gonna happen, and perhaps you might even pick up something paranormal, such as a poltergeist who decides you're having too much fun without him. That is exactly what happened to a gamer who was doing a PS4 live stream of himself playing Skyrim. In the clip, which lasts around 7 minutes, the gamer has his headphones on and is doing his thing when the door behind him begins to open slowly. Of course, he doesn't notice this is happening with his attention on the game and his stream. After a few seconds, the door slams shut, which shocks him as he wonders what's going on since no one else is in the house except for him and his cat. In the next frame of the video, the doors open and the light in the room starts flickering on and off. It's not known if this whole thing is some kind of hoax or not to gain some attention or some followers, but one telltale sign is that his cat is sitting next to him, seemingly calm the whole time. Cats and dogs have been known to sense things that other people can't see, kind of like having a sixth sense. The player then goes back to talking to the other players about what just happened in the room. So, is this live streamer just a poltergeist trolling game? We'll leave that for you to find out. Hope you enjoyed the video, Top 5ers. If you haven't already, check out our other channel, Americano, to enjoy even more amazing list videos. There'll be a link in the description, so check it out, as well as our other